boys and girls. Miss Jodi here. I'm in the church. I'm kind of on a little hunt. I read a book, and I was just wondering if there was a cat in here. Because in my book, it's called Boots, the Church Cat by Carol Lee Anderson, and the illustrations are by Eric Ledsma. In this book, there's actually a cat in their church. And a boy and a girl follow the cat around, and they learn all about the different parts of the church. Well, I don't think we have a cat in our church, although, I've heard that cats are really good at chasing mice, and if there's ever a mouse in here, I wish we would have a cat. Anyway, I hope you enjoy our book, Boots the Cat, the Church Cat. One day, when the sky was blue and the grass was green, Boots the Church Cat was lying napping in the shade of a big tree. She raised her head as she heard the sound of footsteps coming closer and closer. A grown-up voice said, "Peter and Jamie, please stay with Boots until my meeting is over." Boots liked Peter and Jamie because they were always nice to her. They said, "Hi, Boots," and Boots answered, "Meow." "What is behind that great door over there?" asked Peter. Boots got up, stretched, and began walking towards the big door. "That's a church," she said, as Peter and Jamie followed close behind. "If you can reach the door handle and pull really hard, we can go inside." Peter and Jamie both pulled on the door, and finally it opened, just wide enough for the three of them to squeeze in. "Wow," said Jamie, "what a big hall." Boots said, "Jamie, in church talk, we call this the narthex." Narthex. Both Jamie and Peter said narthex. There were more doors ahead. Jamie could open one all by herself. Peter looked at the huge room and asked, "What do you call this space, Boots?" Boots said quietly, "Sanctuary. It's a special place where people come to worship God." Peter and Jamie both found a place to sit down. Peter asked Boots if the chairs had a special church name. Boots was so proud of herself since she knew that the correct answer that she had fluffed her big tail and proudly said, "They are called pews. Can you say pews?" After a short rest, the three of them walked over to something that had water in it. Jamie asked, "What is a bird bath doing in the sanctuary? Do they really let birds in here?" asked Peter. "Not usually," said Boots. "This is baptismal water and a baptismal font. When you are baptized, we know you belong in God's family." Just then, the children saw the huge cross hanging on the sanctuary wall, and they looked up at it. Boots said, "The cross reminds you that as children of God, you are called Christians. God loves you very much, and He sent His own Son from heaven to live on earth, and God's Son's name is Jesus. You've probably heard about the baby Jesus being born on Christmas." The children climbed a few steps and looked around. "What is that?" they both asked. "It's called the pulpit. The pastor likes to stand there and talk about God when people gather for worship. Can you say pulpit?" Both children could easily say pulpit. "What is that?" asked Peter. Boots again knew the answer. She said, "In church talk, we call it the table or the altar. When people gather to worship, it has some very special things on it." "Do people sit here?" Peter asked. "Some of my favorite people sit here," said Boots. "They are the singers in the choir. There are many choirs, and I'd guess soon you'll be old enough to join one of them." "Does someone stand in front of these chairs?" asked Peter. Boots replied, "Yes. The choir director stands in front of the choir to help them sing and make some of the most beautiful music I've ever heard." Jamie noticed something else and asked Boots and Peter to come over and look at it. Boots said, "A very talented person called an organist comes and plays this keyboard, which is called an organ. Behind us, you can see some long tubes called pipes. Air comes through the pipes to make music. We can only see some of them from here. How can we see more pipes? Asked Peter. Boots said, Follow me. They arrived in a room that was full of pipes. There were wooden ones and metal ones, and some very, very tiny, and others were as tall as the ceiling. It was kind of scary, so Peter and Jamie stayed close to Boots. This certainly is an interesting place, but how do these pipes make music? Asked Peter. Boots said, Each white and black key on the organ is connected to the pipes in this room, and the organist presses down the key and the pipes make the sound. I wish I could hear the music, said Peter. Just then, the organist entered the sanctuary and began to play organ music. All of a sudden, the pipes were playing here and they were playing there, and the sound was very loud, and Boots arched her back and got very scared. Peter and Jamie decided it was time to run. They didn't stop until they were back under the tree. All three of them were exhausted and they flopped down. Boots had been so scared that her hair fluffed way out when she ran and got it all messed up. Peter took his hand and helped Boots get her fur to look nice again. Pretty soon, a big grown-up voice said, Well, did Boots take good care of you? And both Jamie and Peter said yes and winked at Boots, and Boots blinked her eye and said, Meow. Well, there you go. That church had a cat living inside. I just think that's a really great idea, you guys. I don't know. We need to ask around and see about that idea. Oh well, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great weekend, and if you have a cat, give him a big hug. See ya, bye-bye.